Good morning. My name is Herb Smith, president of Man to Man Forum. I'm here today with Robert Nelson and Dan Mandel. Dan Mandel is going to discuss suicide prevention and how we do it, what we do about it. So, Dan, what is your background in suicide prevention?
Well, I actually received my training in suicide prevention through the Chemung County Sheriff's Office. I worked there for almost 36 years. They sent me to training in Albany through the Department of Criminal Justice Services, New York State Office of Mental Health, and the Commission of Corrections, where I learned a lot about suicide so I could instruct training for the officers so they could pick up the signs of someone who may be suicidal.
Dan, why discuss suicide?
Well, suicide's a very serious issue, and it affects everybody. People have been affected. I'm sure I have been with friends. I'm sure people have been affected with their family members. Almost everybody's had suicide touch their lives in one way or another. And even though we can't prevent all suicides, with intervention, we can stop a lot of them and get these people help.
Does mental health play a role in suicide?
Actually, mental health plays a major role in suicide. We know there's a lot of people that have serious mental health issues throughout our country, and this does play a role in committing suicide. A lot of them, what they do is we call a co-occurring disorder, where they have a mental health issue but also a substance abuse issue. And sometimes the only way they can get out of their pain is no other alternative to them, because they have nothing to look forward to, is take their own life.
Dan, you mentioned substance abuse. Does substance abuse play a role in suicide?
Oh, yes, and it doesn't have to actually go along with just mental health and substance abuse. Substance abusers themselves can be suicidal. And the problem with people that are substance abusers, especially when they're intoxicated, they can be impulsive and act on the moment. There's a lot of different type of drugs that are depressants that could exasperate a person's feelings when it comes to suicide. So substance abuse, whether it be alcohol or drugs, does play a major role in suicide. And I'll discuss all that at the forum coming up on the 30th.
Dan, what about veterans in suicide?
That's a major problem right now, unfortunately. There's a lot of veterans that have PTSD. They're coming back from a wartime situation, and because of their experiences, they have a hard time dealing and coping with what they experience. They get into depression, and they become suicidal. We have a lot of vets right now that are either contemplating suicide or have committed suicide. So it's a major issue, and we'll be discussing that in veterans and how to get them help as well.
Okay, should a person talk about suicide to a person who may commit suicide?
Absolutely. If you think someone, a friend or family member, may be suicidal, it's always good to sit them down and ask them directly. Are you thinking about hurting yourself? Do you think about killing yourself? And how are you going to do it, So open up a conversation with them. It's not going to make them commit suicide. It's going to show them that you care, that you understand what they're going through, and that, hopefully you can get them to get the help they need so they don't commit suicide.
Thank you, Dan. On January 30th, 2025, he will be discussing more on this suicide and suicidal prevention. It's going to be at the Illegal on Church Street on the second floor. We hope to see you all there. Thank you.
And it begins from 6 o'clock and it will end at 8 o'clock.
Okay.